Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of the Chicago Techies podcast, a podcast focused on highlighting the voices of Chicago Techies and their experiences. This season, we'll be focusing on students looking to enter or entering the Chicago Tech community. I'm your host, Ceci F.B. Thank you for joining us. On today's episode, I am joined by Cecilia Avila, Program Assistant at Breakthrough Tech, Chicago. Hi, Cecilia or Ceci. I'm really excited to be talking to my tocaya right now. It feels like I'm talking to myself. I'm very, very excited for you to join me in this week's episode of the Chicago Techies podcast. I really want to hear all about your journey within tech, how you're getting here, how you got here, and just your overall experience in tech. So thanks for joining. So let's dive right in. Why don't you start with your name, your pronouns, where you're from, and your current role.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Cecilia Avila, pronouns she, her, hers. I was born and raised in Chicago. I currently work for Breakthrough Tech Chicago as a program assistant. Breakthrough Tech Chicago is hosted within UIC. And I currently work there part-time, but I am actually looking for full-time positions in software engineering.
That's awesome. So I'm assuming that you went to UIC for school.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, let's take a step back more to your high school experience. I'm really curious to know about that experience. Like, where did you go to high school here?
So I attended Sarah E. STEM Academy, located in the south side of Chicago. I was the first graduating class. So when I first attended, high school, it was just freshmen. But they were a different school. They had different initiatives. At the time, or I think they still are, they are partnered with IBM and Richard J. Daley Community College. And so what they wanted to do was basically have students graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree. So yeah, when I was there, by my sophomore year, they told me, these are the 3 career paths you can take for your associate's degree. They were all tech related. I had no idea what tech really was. I didn't know what any of the majors they had listed were. And it's funny how the way they told me to choose, they gave me a sheet with the 3 majors and a little small description and then the pay. So, being a high schooler, teenager, I was like, I have no idea what any of these actually do. So I just went with the most common, most paying one. And I said, I'll just do computer science. And so then I started taking classes at Richard J. Daley College. My high school experience is not the most common. Like the way that my classes were was I would basically go to school, get picked up in a school bus, drive me to community college, take my classes there with, either my peers and then like other college students. And then after that, I'd go back to high school, continue my classes. But throughout that time, I was taking math, calculus, my English classes. So at the same time, I was taking basically dual enrollment. So my classes would count for high school and college credits. And so during that time, I was able to explore programming, web design. I was introduced to problem solving because along with, community college, we were also partnered with IBM. So then IBM would actually come and do these activities and, these challenge questions to like build the tallest tower with marshmallows and, the common, challenges they do. So that was my first introduction to, I guess, tech and just overall high school.
That's crazy. I am really impressed. Like, I didn't even know that a high school had like that type of dual like program where you could, you graduate with your diploma and an associate's degree. That's awesome.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was the first graduating class. So a lot of the stuff that they were trying to do, work around, didn't work out the first time. So nobody from my class I actually graduated with a high school diploma, although we did have a lot of like college credit. And if we wanted to finish our socials degree, like we were probably like one semester away. But
Wait,
personally,
sorry, you said that you only graduated with a high school diploma, not an associate's degree.
no, just a high school diploma, just
Got it, okay.
because, yeah, it was too much, the first year that they were trying to figure out, now they're doing it and think, it's going great, but not when I was there.
Yeah, trial and error. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you did have some college credits to start with. Your college,
yeah,
that's awesome. And also that it's all tech. I mean, it makes sense. They're STEM schools, so it makes sure.
mm-hmm.
That's really impressive and really exciting. So I'm assuming you were, and this is all your sophomore year when you started the college credits or your college classes, or was it your junior or senior year?
So they started off sophomore and basically all the way to my senior year.
Wow. I bet that was definitely at least good, right? Like at least it prepared you for like when you transition to full college classes. So which brings me to the next question, which is like, obviously once you graduated, you had an upper arm with the college classes, but did you know, I mean, obviously it sounds like you already knew right away that you wanted to continue in that computer science path, or did you at any point doubt that you wanted to try to change it up and start over, or like what was your process?
Yeah, so once I did graduate, I was like, I could either finish my associate's degree or just take my credits and go elsewhere. But at that point, I think I was just so tired of like, since sophomore year to senior year being in, community college, I was like, I'll just take my credits and go elsewhere. So I attended UIC, and I am a first generation student. So there was a lot of things that I could have done better. And so I did struggle at first as I transitioned. Like, for example, I didn't think that attending or applying as undeclared was a good thing or it was possible. Like, for some reason, I felt like if I enroll as undeclared, I might be rejected or something, So I was like, I already have my credits for, and all these other work for computer science. I was like, I'll just continue that. And so I did. And it's not like I didn't like it. I did like it. I enjoyed the problem solving. I enjoyed, my classes that I took. But had I not gone to that high school, I don't think I would have ever done tech. And so, so when I did start college, it was so different. I didn't really have anyone. So nobody in my family is in tech. And then once I did start college, I didn't really have an advisor. It was general advising. So I was really low on resources when I first started. I felt like I was all lost and didn't know what to do. But when I first started my classes, when I walked in, it was a big hit difference for me. Like it completely threw me off. And I walked in and there was no one who looked like me. Woman, Latina, just it was all really, really different.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it wasn't for me. It intimidated me. It scared me. It made me feel insecure for some reason, along with like feeling that way. I also felt behind because usually, like grade school, high school, like everyone in your class is at the same level. And so when you go to college, it's like, well, you have people who are coming back for their second degrees. You have people who have all different levels of experience.
Yeah.
And so I already fell behind because like there's people who had coded since like 12 and had all these experience or like, they had all these connections. I'm like, how do you guys know this already? Like, shouldn't we all be at the same level? So I already fell behind. And I was like, maybe this isn't for me. I was just got caught in the whole, I don't know, I just felt overwhelmed. And so I did have to have like some changes. My first year didn't go great. I did have to seek like help, get tutoring. I was just like, I need to get together. Although once I did get together, I was like, I did think about like what other possibilities I could, explore. I did at some point want to switch to education. But I was like, I'm already too into, tech, and I haven't even given it a chance. So I was like, if I first want to explore it, do it. If I like it, great, and if I don't, then I can always, explore teaching. Um, but yeah, that was kind of my transition into college.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I totally get it. I feel like I was also sort of first generation. Like my brother did go to a community college before us, and he had a bit of an idea of what college was like. And then my sister and I were the following that went to school we came from Mexico when we were 11, so we learned English, went to middle school here and high school here, so we were able to at least catch up with that, right? But then we didn't know anything about what the transition to college would be like. So I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life, like when I was 17. Like I think, a lot of us are just not super prepared for the college experience because we don't know. And not a lot of people in our family have done it before.
Yeah.
Luckily, now we are those people that are going to advise our little like nephews or nieces or like our kids. But before, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And you felt lost, and so did I. Like I think when we first go to school, it's just like a big shocker because your mom is not there making you like your breakfast and and lunch and all of that, right? Like you're doing it all on your own and figuring it out. But anyway, I completely understand, and especially like with computer science. I mean, it's a male dominated field, and there is not a lot of people of color. So of course, like you are you are unfortunately someone that had to go through all those struggles. So I can definitely relate. So don't worry, you're not alone. There's so many people that have the same experience.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's like all those people are at different places, so you can't all be in the same place. Now for as you kind of like got more and more, I guess, hopefully comfortable with being in classes and kind of like persevering and thinking that I don't want to I should I even be here, like your insecurities hopefully changed. Now did you have access to like mentorship at all in college? Like did you understand, like you mentioned that you did seek help, but I'm curious, like what was that type of help? Like, did you find a mentor? Did you find someone that can help you out, that can advise you? Like, or what was that like?
I didn't have a mentor. I think, I guess I don't want to say like that, but I kind of became desperate. Like I was like, I need to find someone to help me. I need to get, basically get it together. So I did ask like, what were they called? Lattice within UIC. They're a group that help students overall with different majors. So I went to their advising because I didn't really have advising overall at the moment. But once I did like sophomore year, maybe, I did have an actual advisor, which was a professor. And she basically told me to like focus on myself. I explained my difficulties, stuff I was feeling, and she was like, stop worrying about everyone else. Like this is you. This is you are competing with yourself. And so that kind of just changed me, and I'm like, yep, you're right. I was like, I need to stop, comparing myself and all this other stuff. So that was basically that advising I had. Later on, the college did get official advisors, like full-time advisors, and they were more like classes and anything you needed help with. But I'd never really had like a true mentor like to go to in a way. I did go to my advisors for help sometimes, or like what class should I take, but I think I kind of just grew my network like of friends within CS, and if we had needed help or just general advice, like some of us were at different levels, or some of them were higher up, so I would be like ask them questions about like different projects or like classes, or maybe even like internships, stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think I have heard of Lattice actually, and I've also heard of Las Ganas at UIC, that are like networks that support like students that are going through different careers. But I'm curious, was there like a specific like women in tech group at UIC, or something that is like related to support women that are going through in tech that are wanting to get into tech?
They do have WICS, which is Women in Computer Science. That is a student-based org, but I did attend a few events, but I was not that involved.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of those can be sometimes helpful, when you're going through this. But during your time at college, like, were you a part of any groups or any like that helped you professionally to kind of develop your career?
Yeah, so in college, I wasn't really part of any group, and I only had my group friends who we kind of, just hung out at the, UAC had a CS lounge. So we hung out there at the CS lounge. And at the time, the department had 3 organizations. 2 were more technical, and the other one was non-technical, but we all felt like we wanted to create more of a community-based organization that was open or focused more on Latinx students. So we got together and we were like, let's do this organization. So we were able to form a community of Latinx and other underrepresented students to support each other academically and professionally. And so the org is called Latinx Organization for Growth and in Computing and Academics, so Lógica. So we started off in my junior year. I served as secretary, treasurer, and then president. Just because I was there since the beginning all the way to the end of my senior year. It was difficult to start at first, not gonna lie. There was a lot of paperwork and all this other stuff, and especially we started at a weird spot. Like, we started in the middle of like the school year, and then COVID hit, and it was just like, we kind of got stuck. Like once we started rolling, thinking like, oh yeah, we had these events, we kind of were faced with the challenge. But before COVID, we did host events like resume workshops. We had companies like GitHub come, Starbucks, a whole bunch of other companies that came in and basically focus on, like I said, resumes. With GitHub, we did more of a what's it called? We did more of a mental/imposter syndrome workshop, just talking to different engineers and their backgrounds and just how they got there and how to deal with some of these difficulties. But yeah, this was basically an organization that helped me create more of a community within the CS lounge, or the CS department, sorry. And also grow myself as a leader, grow myself like with my skills and socially, obviously recruit and try to help other people, and again, academically and professionally advance ourselves.
That's amazing. I feel like, student organizations are very important for students to be able to connect with each other and, share what they've learned or who their contacts are. So that's really, really exciting and really cool. Is that still ongoing right now?
Yeah, it's still ongoing. Of course, the whole virtual thing, kind of all orgs were kind of, had to figure out a way to stay connected and, keep organizations or keep events going. But Lógica is still there. We do also like partner with the department, and they do found us to go to the Tapia conference. So we have done presentations. So Tapia is a conference that hosts Birds of a Feather sessions. They have career fair and other stuff for minority students. And we have presented twice for Birds of a Feather sessions. So we've actually gone to Tapia conference, done a whole workshop on organization and stuff that we can be doing to better grow our communities and just help other colleges as well, because when you go to these conferences, it's like different people, like students from other colleges, students from other states, and then other professionals who want to join in and just listen in to what we're doing. So that's how we actually met and connected with GitHub, and they were interested in our org, and we're like, yeah, we'll go visit, host an event with you and stuff like that. So yeah, we've just tried to grow ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, you had like your own mini chapter of of like Latinas in Tech, but for all. Well, that's great. I mean, that's incredible leadership. So congrats on that. I mean, it's been a while, but that's really shows like your intentions and your passion. So I wish you the best, and I'm sure it'll be great. And I'm sure when you go back and share your story with those students, you're going to share a little piece of advice that is going to be very, very beneficial to them. So how about any external groups? Were you at all involved with any other external groups during your time at college? Or like, I know that obviously Latinas in Tech didn't come here till 2018 because that's when we created it. But I know that, and I wondered if, like, I know there were other organizations in the past, like Women Who Code and, just other external orgs that you might have seeked. Did you learn about any of those when you were in school, or did you seek anything outside of UIC?
I didn't. I don't think I was aware or that aware. For some reason, like I did hear like different groups, but for some reason I thought that I had to be like, a professional to join or something like that. I wasn't sure if it was like for students. So as far as orgs, I just stay within like UIC.
Got it. No, and like I'm only asking that because I with Latinas in Tech Chicago, like I really want to make sure that we try to send the message, to like to like all the universities that are local to Chicago, that they are welcome. That you don't have to be a professional to join Latinas in Tech Chicago. Like anyone can join, anyone from high school, even if they want to start that early, they can come to our events and learn more about the opportunities that we can connect you to. I'm still a part of it, of Latinas in Tech, but I actually rolled off as a leader now. Because I actually work now for Latinas in Tech. So I'm a program manager at Latinas in Tech, and I started last month, or actually April. But I still feel like I'm a part of the leadership team, just because, honorary, I guess. But it's close to my heart. We made it happen with Yvonne. So I want to make sure that all students feel that they can come to those events. Now, I'm curious to learn a little bit more about the experience, like once graduation was near. How did you figure out what your best move was? Because I'm assuming that by now, like obviously you're like set with computer science and you're comfortable and you want to transition now into a role, or potentially as a software engineer, or right now I know you're a program assistant, but what have you been doing to kind of figure out your next move? Are you going to any meetups? Are you going to have you been leaning on events and people that you're meeting at events to come up with that next move?
Yeah, so after graduation, so near the end of graduation, I was nominated to be a fellow for Get Cities, Get City Chicago. So that I actually got accepted. But Get City Chicago is basically a fellowship that is funded by Pivotal Ventures. They have a goal to support women and other marginalized genders in tech. And it's basically a 9-month program where you receive mentorship, professional development, and at the same time, you are also conducting project-based research. So you are paid, the cohort is placed in teams. Each team is attacking an issue within tech. More specifically, mine is how might we get more women and other marginalized genders in tech, and help them with that process. But with this fellowship, I was able to grow my network. I had never been in so I don't know, it's just 20, it's a cohort of 20 individuals, and they're all in tech within their first 5 years. And so I was able to network with them. I'm able to hear their stories, their backgrounds, and it's been awesome to hear that, because I don't think I would have had the opportunity elsewhere. 9 months together, it's like, you know each other at that point. But along with that, I was also something that I was always wondering about, or how do you even do that, is mentorship. So throughout college, they were like, oh, try to get a mentor when you start working, ask someone that and blah, blah, or basically try to get one, everyone needs one. And so I was just like, how do you even get one, But Get Cities, thankfully paired me up with a mentor that aligned with my background. And, I've been working with her for 5 months now, 4 months.
No, that's great. I am familiar with Get Cities a little bit. That's great. I know the director, and have had conversations about partnering with Latinas in Tech too, and trying to advance the mission. So I love that. I love that this program is available now as well for people that are being nominated and take this opportunity. It kind of reminds me of my own past. I had when I transitioned into my career, I started a program with AmeriCorps, and it was a cohort of 25 of us, and we were placed at different places in the city because we were actually going into social justice and social work. And I was placed at a school, but my colleagues were placed at Chicago Public Schools or where other the Park District, and we had all sites. But then we came together on Fridays to do professional development work and learn about and tackle projects too. So we partnered with the Illinois Caucus of Adolescent Health on my team, and we were supposed to create a project to help with the teen pregnancies and things like that. So it's very obviously very different, but in a way it kind of reminds me that it's similar, because you are a community, you build those networks. Now all of those people are, even though you feel like you might be at the same level or same entry level, or even just new people, they're all going to remain your contacts for the rest of your life. And I am still good friends with some of those people that I went to that cohort. We're all in different places. Some of them did stick around with social justice and social work, but some of us obviously transitioned to tech or other avenues. But I'm glad that you're going through that program. It sounds like it's really promising, and it sounds like it's a great fit for you. And now you have an access to a mentor, so that is within your field. Well, I'm excited to hear then that you're looking into once that you wrapped up that role, that you're going into computer science, right? You want to be a software engineer. So what are you doing to prepare for that right now?
Right now, so I graduated in December of 2020, and the fellowship started in late January, but I didn't get a mentor till February, and we kind of made this plan. So I told her my goal here is my first goal is land my full-time job. So she was like, okay, well, she helped me come up with the schedule, come up with things I should be doing. So I am practicing leak code. I'm applying. I'm trying to grow my network. So I attended Latinas in Tech Summit. It's not my first conference, but I plan to keep myself connected.
Yeah.
Because I did attend Grace Hopper in college. I did attend the Tapia conference also my senior year. So I do enjoy those conferences, and hope and plan to keep going to them. But also I've been trying to grow myself. So practice leak code, practice just talking, almost interviewing. And something that I always struggled with is confidence. So that's something that I'm working on. And And yeah, just overall growing myself.
Yeah. No, are you doing any like side projects for yourself where you're kind of like keeping, you're still practicing like your coding abilities and so that you can eventually like transition? I know because I know that sometimes during college, like during junior and senior year, since yours was a little different, you probably didn't have access to like internships with companies, with tech companies to do, like a project or an app or things like that. So have you been doing that on the side? Because if not, I have some recommendations for you, but let me hear about your experience so far about that.
Yeah, so I'm not done with these projects. But my first one was I've been trying to basically build a website for my portfolio. Um, and then the other one that I was more interested in was building a website for my family. So my family owns a family bakery here in Chicago. And so they opened in COVID basically in 2020.
Amazing.
And so yeah, there's a lot of like stuff that still needs to be done. And right now they just use basically Facebook to get themselves out there. But I think having an actual website where people can just like look at the pictures of past cakes and get
Yeah.
inspiration and be like, oh yeah, I want that one, or stuff like that. So I just want to build them a platform that can showcase their work and people can go and see what
That's amazing.
cake
Okay.
they want, what pan que hay.
Yeah, I want to know what this is. What's the bakery called?
It's called Don Pan Bakery. It's
Oh my
on
God, I love
Cage
it.
Park.
I love it. Don Pan, huh? Bakery.
Don Pan, yeah, bake.
That's amazing. That sounds like a great project. I mean, eventually, like you could probably do a lot of different things for that site. That's awesome. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you're building your portfolio, you're doing that stuff. If you're interested, there are also, before my time at Latinas in Tech, I used to volunteer or work for Code for America, and they have also like local chapters. So they have one here in Chicago called Code for Chicago, and they are basically all volunteers that work at companies, and they meet on Thursdays. And they get together and help build websites or apps for either nonprofits or like low income communities. So that's also another option for you if you want to connect with other entry level engineers that are also looking to start building their portfolios. And some of them are already like seasoned, some already are like older that have been in the industry for a while but are helping and build these pages. So definitely check out codeforchicago.org. They meet on Thursdays, and I myself have been a little bit involved but been MIA for a while. I will be helping though with their social media, but it's just, with the summit, I was super busy with work, so I couldn't attend the meetings, but I'm looking to start over attending those meetings and start getting more involved with them. But that's a great organization. I know that recently we had a project with the Chicago Food Depository to create an interactive map to help them kind of like, I think it was more for information about where their locations and things like that, where there's drop boxes and things like that. So that's definitely something that you should totally check out if you're interested. So as far as like, yeah, I feel like you have been, like dealing with a lot and going through a lot of different challenges. Challenges in school, challenges, as you transition. So I'm curious to know what is the most challenging thing about your transition from college to now, looking for that full-time role. What's been the struggle that you are seeing?
So this is the struggle for me that I think it's, that's my fault, but because I dealt with this, little side of my imposter syndrome and like, being not confident or like doubting myself sometimes, my biggest mistake was not applying for internships in college. That was my biggest mistake. And for anyone listening, please apply. Don't be afraid. So the reason I didn't know, the reason I did not apply was because like I would take classes and then be like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready yet. I think I should take this class first and then I'll apply to be more ready. And basically it was a cycle of like, oh wait, maybe I should take this class and then apply, And at the end it's like, well, time's running out, you're not applying, and got to the end, then you're here. But I failed to realize that that was a time that it was okay not knowing enough because I was still a student. Like I wasn't, I hadn't graduated, so like companies didn't expect so much of me, and that was my chance to actually learn more and get that exposure of the workplace and just grow my skills and build on what I did know. So that has been my biggest mistake slash struggle, because now that I am actually like looking for full time, not having that experience is pushing me down, because like if all I have is projects, then and no actual work experience, it's not that
Yeah,
that great.
yeah, I understand, and that's unfortunate because I feel like a lot of like women of color are in that same boat because and I don't know, maybe this is like a new thing, but like I don't think a lot of like in computer science students are super aware of how this is so important. So I don't know. I always wonder like what is the best way to make sure that students know that this is a must, that you should do this, that you should take advantage of that and not be afraid, because you will be learning a lot. Like you are not expected to know everything. You're a junior or a senior in college, so you're not expected to know all the rules and all the things. But I definitely hear you. Even in not related to tech, but even as a different humanities major, like you don't need to it's important to still apply for internships to get some work experience, not just to go into tech. For any major should be applying to have internships, and I don't think we put an emphasis on that in college. I don't think our colleges are equipped to tell us that. So I definitely empathize and kind of feel for you, because I think I was in the same boat too. But I mean, obviously my story is a little different since I transitioned into tech. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this experience though with Get Cities and eventually and your side work and maybe some volunteering can open a few more doors to get you that that entry level software engineering role that you're looking for. And I mean, also don't be so quick to discard apprenticeships, and that you can still or internships, paid internships that you're seeing now. It's never really too late. I mean, obviously, ideally, you would want to start already as a software engineer, but sometimes it can take a little longer to make it. But don't be discouraged, and definitely keep going, because sí se puede.
Yeah, and it is something that fortunately, thanks to Breakthrough Tech, I was able to get a sprinternship. I don't know if it's basically a 3-week mini internship. So I started working for Breakthrough Tech Chicago in April, and I was supposed to be a coach for a cohort that was going to basically sprint turn for a company. But it didn't go so well for the team. One student couldn't basically do these sprinternships, so they were like, do you want to jump in? And I was like, yeah, sure, like I'll do it. So I did it, and for these 3 weeks I interned at a company that thankfully I was able to like have that experience of an internship within 3 weeks, but still build a whole project. So like first week research, second week actually start building, third week completing it, presenting. It was really it was really condensed, but like still got a feel for it.
Awesome. And about that, like what language was it written in?
Python.
What languages are you familiar with?
Java, Python, a little bit of JavaScript, but yeah, when the sprint turn, the company wasn't like, you need to know this, this, and this. It was kind of like, here's a problem, here's how you can solve it. Do your research. So basically, I had exposure to AWS services. I had never worked with them, but it was my first time, and it was a great experience to you don't really get to like explore, I think, AWS unless you want to pay for it and stuff like that. But being able to work with it for a company and into a solution that will keep basically being used. We basically created the foundation and then they're just gonna build off on that. But yeah, that was AWS, Python is basically what I worked with.
Yeah. Well, just as a reminder, like make sure that you're putting all of that in your LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the recruiters, that's what they're looking for. You know, they're looking for people that have experience in Java and Python and C# and all those. And definitely, like, you know, make sure that you're definitely branding yourself appropriately. I think you have a lot of potential for sure to score a full-time role as soon as possible. I know that you're part of the Latinas in Tech Slack, and make sure you join Techies Slack as well. There's always people posting roles in there. I know recently I posted like some apprenticeship for an apprenticeship role for software engineering for Code for America. Unfortunately, you have to be in the Bay Area for that, but you know, like there's always opportunities that come up that are remote. I know that JP Morgan Chase has their own, American Express has their own, like, you know, and they're open for bootcamp grads and recent graduates, even if it's been in the last 3 years for recent grads. So make sure that you're always checking out apprenticeships and internships that are paid, because you definitely need and deserve to get paid. I would steer away from non-paid internships just because, you know, I mean, at this point, we've survived a pandemic. We really need to get money. we need to get paid. So I'll be on the lookout too for openings, and if I know anyone in the community, I know quite a few people in Chicago. So if they have any entry level positions for software engineering, I'll send them your way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I think this has been a great conversation. I would love to know a little bit more about your goals for the future and what you're looking to accomplish besides getting a job, right? Besides getting that role and becoming a software engineer. Do you have any like long-term like hopes and dreams?
Long-term hopes and dreams. I feel like I almost haven't even planned ahead because I'm just like so like I need a job, I need this. But at the moment, first things first, job. Second, I want to have this website, this project for my family's business done and working and build off on that for, you know, as much time as I need. Continue building my network, grow my skills, maybe get certifications, just grow myself overall, because that should never stop happening. So doing that. And then I also just, I guess maybe long term is I want to at some point explore teaching. I do want to give back. I do want to become a mentor, not a mentor. Mentor. Yeah, mentor. I was getting confused, mentor, mentee. Yeah, I do want to become a mentor. And then personally, just get my own place, move out, you know, expand my wings and keep going, adulting. But yeah, that's basically what's in for me.
Yeah. Well, I do have a friend that I believe she's more into site reliability engineering, I think, or DevOps, actually DevOps. But she also wanted to teach, and she did. She did her, she's an engineer, obviously, and does her DevOps work. But she also is an assistant teacher at Loyola and has been for a while. She's open. She's incredibly open and really cool. So she would be definitely open to chat with you if you're interested. I can tell her to connect with you and share her experience and how she did it to become a teacher as well after her, obviously she's a little older and has done already I believe she just finished her either PhD or master's, but she works at, I think, Peak 6 Investments here in Chicago. And I think I can put you in touch with her so that you guys can chat. Awesome. Well, thanks. Yeah. So I'm sure it's not the same software engineering with DevOps and the classes that she teaches, but I think it'll be helpful for you, for you guys to connect. I think that would be a good idea. Well, I mean, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so much for sharing your story and telling me about you. I really enjoyed getting to know you, and I would love to stay in touch. And for people also that might want to connect with you, what's the best way? Is it LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, email? Feel free to share, and then I'll share those on the show notes.
Yeah, so I have LinkedIn. You can find me as Cecilia Avila. Instagram, Cecilia.avila25. And then my email, clavila4@gmail.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll put all that information in the show notes. And thanks again for joining me. It's been really a pleasure, and best of luck to you. I hope that, by this time next year, you're already like a successful software engineer in tech.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I hope so too, because I need to get it.
It'll happen, girl. Si se puede. It's going to happen. Sí. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Chicago Techies podcast. If you enjoyed listening, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review on iTunes. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us at Chicago Techies on all social media channels. Thank you again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.